When I got the chance to run one of the most famous races in the world, the London Marathon, nothing could have prepared me for what that day would really be like. This is the story of the race that broke the world record for most ever finishers at a marathon, with over 56,000, and I was there that day to see it. Whilst this was easily the most training I'd ever done to prepare for a race, I hadn't run more than 32 kilometres, 10k short of the full distance. This, combined with unexpectedly hot weather on the day, meant I had to wonder if I was really ready to take on this historic run. Just 31 hours after the race took place, my legs now barely working, I carefully sat down to give my thoughts on the most remarkable run I've ever done. I'm Harry Morgan, and this is Jog On. Thank you to Shocks for sponsoring this Jog On video. The weekend had arrived.
It's happening, it's the London Marathon. Shocks had invited me to a shakeout run, which they were doing with the NN running team.
Hey, smile, guys.
They had an elite athlete taking us for a jog around the streets. It was 4.4 kilometres in total. And we ran, I have no idea where we were, somewhere in London, running around the streets, and took us into Regent's Park, where we were shown some drills, and then we ran back to the store. We then had a Q&A with Eliud Kipchoge's coach, Patrick. I then went to the expo, what they call the London Marathon running show. Let me pull that up.
Yeah, this has a tracker.
Looks good, yeah. There's a lot of it happen tomorrow as well. I went over and saw the Shocks headphone stand. It was super busy. They were selling lots of pairs of their Open Run 2. Amazing, thank you so much. Then on the Saturday morning, there was a Jog On meetup at Battersea Parkrun. Is anyone willing to put their hand up and say they might kind of push it on the 5K?
I do.
Oh, that's weird. I didn't know. And it was just resting then until the big day.
Waking up early, the Jog On vest was laid out with the bib number I'd collected, and I began to safety pin it in a way that, at the time, I thought was secure. Being such an important day, somehow orange and black war paint felt appropriate.
I've never known a time where I haven't been vaguely aware of the London Marathon. From when I was very, very young, I remember watching my dad running it. This was my first ever marathon, and it was what is, for many people, the most iconic race in the world.
The train began to take us towards the start, and I observed a man also wearing Shocks headphones.
Somehow the marathon supersedes the usual social decorum, and you just see people having more conversations. We got out the train station, there's just a flow of runners walking up towards the large grass expanse.
I would be in the blue start area.
It's absolutely crazy here.
I ended up just writing miles on my hands, even though these days I'm mostly working in kilometres. Spoiler alert, many of these mile markers I had on my hands never actually appeared on the course, or maybe I just missed them. What was great is my dad Steve, known as the Jog Father, joined me there. He'd be running again. He's run the London Marathon multiple times before.
I was here first in 1992 in a baby carrier watching my own dad run the London Marathon, and now we're here about to go on the start line and take on the London Marathon in 2025.
It's a fantastic experience, debut marathon.
From there, Steve and I headed into the gathering crowds.
Holy moly, we are in.
Blackheath was incredibly busy. There were runners everywhere. We hadn't even started the race, and I already was looking around thinking this is a spectacle in of itself.
It is massive. They've just announced there are 18 waves.
I had no idea there were that many waves.
18 waves is crazy.
I was wave 2, so I was really, really early. So they called wave 2 forwards. I said goodbye to my dad, Steve.
Made some final shoe adjustments, zeroed the running watch, and took in the scene around me.
We saw Kipchoge being announced on the big screen, and we started being moved forward, and I could see those big hot air balloons up to my right. There were some men dressed as a strange-looking caterpillar to my left, and we just broke into a jog, and next thing we're running forwards, and I still can't quite see the start. It was quite disorientating. It was weird to already have broken into a jog, because I'm thinking, well, hang on, I want to save my energy here. I don't want to be running already. I'm going to be running more than a marathon at this rate.
Here we go.
Then I saw it. The start line is right there. We crossed this start line, and it was just a really exciting moment.
Here we go. This is fantastic. This somehow just feels different. Thank you, guys. The London Marathon 2025. This is cool. 26.2 miles, 42.2 kilometres. Let's go!
Fist bumping a fellow runner, I tried to keep it steady as 1k arrived.
About 4:40 on the first kilometre. Thanks, Mark. 5 miles to go! Only 25.
Pushing on, we passed a jogging Big Ben, who looked quite warm.
Another start. Well done, mate. Cheers, man. Thanks very much. Another start joining us here.
This is not like any other running race I've ever done.
Merging into the main artery of runners flooding down this road.
This was bigger, more extreme, and louder.
Go, hurry, I'll assume that's for me, even though it's probably not. That's the first mile there. 7:27. First big turn of the course.
Rounding the bend, a fist bump with a guy in shades.
Boom. Cheers, man. Have a good one.
A runner in pink shorts seemed to recognise the orange of the vest.
The logo standing proud crowd in the capital.
And we mounted a speed bump.
Sub 305 there, probably come from a different start. It's all good.
Passing towing signs, the music of ABBA blared out at the side of the road, and I met a man called Ollie.
What's your name, dude?
Ollie.
Boom. Good luck. Yeah, you too. Got some sprayers coming up ahead. Going to try and duck out of these to avoid getting wet too early. Good luck, Harry. Cheers, man. Thank you very much. Just coming up to a quarter of an hour.
One of the best elements of running that race was just talking to other runners and hearing other people's stories. I caught some on camera, but just having people come up and fist bump you, pat you on the shoulder, tell you about why they were running the London Marathon, what time they were hoping for. We, of course, talk about the weather. We're English. We're going to talk about the weather.
As we passed another shower, I was about to begin my marathon fueling.
Just approaching 20 minutes, which means first gel.
If you want some numbers, it was 60 grams per hour of carbohydrate I was aiming to take.
Fuel to go.
I was going to really try and be religious with that fueling, taking it every 20 minutes.
Lovely. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a downhill.
I had this strange moment where this guy started speaking to me and he clearly knew the Jog On videos. I asked him his name and he said Jay, and then it wasn't until he lifted his sunglasses I realised I knew him. It was a guy called Jay Westwood. I went to school with him. I hadn't seen him in years.
Mid-London Marathon, what a way to reconnect. Just a touch over 23 minutes at 5k. Nice and controlled, and the crowds are building.
Sweeping around the warm tarmac road, I noticed a slight rise.
First incline, crowds thinning out just a little bit. It's time for the shocks to go on for a section.
And with the tap of a button, the soundtrack of 1,000 tapping shoes complemented the music well, making many of my training miles more interesting. I'd been using Shock's bone conduction headphones during the bulk of my marathon block. Lightweight and comfortable with tremendous battery life, the open-ear style allowed me greater awareness of my surroundings. Shock's had sent me a pair of their Open Run 2 in, of course, orange.
See you, man. Love to see you. That was a gentleman by the name of Mason. Great guy, good runner. 5 miles approaching.
The route led us under a bridge and to the echoing rhythmic sound of drums.
Let's go!
You'd be in this conversation, you'd be quite focused on talking to this person, meeting them, maybe a 60-second dialogue, and then coming out of that conversation, looking around going, oh yeah, I'm also running arguably the most famous race in the world.
Great to meet you. Approaching 40 minutes, which means another gel. 9 kilometres there. Glorious scenes through the streets of London.
With 9k ticked off, there were more high fives and an intense man in a denim jacket. In front, fellow runner Mike was getting a lot of shouts.
I spent the first 3/4 of an hour in conversations with runners. But you know what? Wouldn't change it for the world. It's amazing.
As I took on water, the 10k mark arrived in the mid-46 minutes. I tried my best to ignore the fact that I just needed to do that 4.2 times in a row.
One of the easiest groups to spot, of course, was family and friends who were dressed in Jog On orange.
Was cool.
Already on a high, an enthusiastic man behind me spoke.
Hey, Jog On, I watch your videos.
Oh, cheers, man. Great to meet you.
Yeah, you too. Good luck.
Thank you, man. Have a good one. I believe this is Cutty Sark. What, Harry? Cheers, man. Thank you. Thanks, man.
Cutty Sark was loud, incredible.
This is unbelievable.
I spoke to the guy on my left and just said,
this is just surreal, right?
what is happening right now? And he said, I know.
Oh, it's crazy.
It's crazy.
Ahead of us, Mr. Incredible tried to keep cool, and we poured past rows of spectators.
Absolutely brilliant.
I was now chasing down Mr. Incredible.
Carried on through the streets, it was loud. People coming out of bars holding a pint and, right, go on mate, you can finish it. It just felt like the whole street was behind you.
Oh my Lord.
It was a great feeling, almost overwhelming to the point where your brain couldn't quite comprehend it.
Sort of mildly overwhelming.
With Mr. Incredible vanquished, the crowds just didn't stop.
This just feels different. Bit of shade behind the buildings now.
Following the wheelchair in front, I could hear the shouts of Jog On supporter Rachel.
What I'm doing.
Following a pause with Rachel, we ran through a field of paper cups, but my mind was on the one big goal I had with this marathon.
Born out of really years of watching people run marathons and seeing something in particular happening to so many people. And for me, that's that unbelievably common thing of the pace really starting to drop in the final stages of the marathon. Anywhere from kind of that 18-mile to 22-mile window, that seems to be a sort of a dangerous hotspot for people. They're just getting slower and slower and slower. It would appear that even or negative splitting a marathon is in the minority of experiences. So that was one of my big goals. I really wanted to go into this marathon and not blow up towards the end. I wanted to maintain that pace, maybe even get a little bit quicker.
We're only 13k into a 42.2 kilometre run, so keeping it chill.
More high fives, and then I spotted someone.
Just saw subscriber Theo Young. He's doing brilliantly with his running. Recently broke into the 21 minutes for 5k. Wears a Jog On top with pride, which is so cool.
Absolutely incredible!
Slight incline up past the bus.
The bus marked about 14 kilometres, and I glanced at my graffitied hand.
We're past 1 hour, which means fueling time.
With the wonderful crowd support, we were spurred on to our next milestone.
That's 9 miles right there. 1:06.57. About 90 seconds off a 3:10 pace. Absolutely fine. Come on, come on, come on, come on.
As we continued to run, you could feel the heat, especially on the back of your neck. So I was really, really conscious about that. When you're already putting a lot on the line physically to run a marathon, to also then have the weather be that hot is certainly a dangerous place to be, and you've really got to treat that with some respect and really manage your options for keeping cool.
Definitely don't want to speak too soon, but 15 kilometres in, I'm feeling pretty strong. It's the legs that will go first, I'm sure. But here we go, let's make our way towards that hour-and-a-half mark first.
A brief exchange with a man in red. I witnessed runners stopping to embrace family and friends, and soon we hit 10 miles.
10 miles just up there. No. About 1:14.20 at 10 miles.
For me, there were 3 things I was going to do to give myself the best chance of not crumbling towards the end. And those were heat management, pacing, and fueling.
A bit more shocks time.
Boom! With music all around, I met the man who'd just seen his family, Adam.
Yes, mate, we got this.
Above us, a man was announcing from scaffolding.
I don't know what he's saying. Come on! Have a good run, dude. We're apparently coming through Rotherhithe, 1:23.38 on the clock.
In Rotherhithe, I took on more carbohydrates and spoke to more runners as we were doused by more showers.
That was cool.
People love to hold up signs, and I saw so many different signs during this race.
Toenails are for losers. Hey! It's the London Marathon, baby!
Runners embracing loved ones, the volume of the crowd only increased.
Just saw a sign that said, "At least you're not at work." And the funny thing is I kind of am. Shard up in front.
It was time to hydrate.
Thank you. I think the water bottle lady knew jog on. That's cool. Massive Wallace for some reason. Oh, yeah!
I needed to calm down, cool down, and then I saw it.
There it is.
There up in front of us is Tower Bridge. That famous landmark just before the halfway point.
Go on, Harry! Go on, Harry! Oh, my word. And this is Tower Bridge!
Crossing it was just amazing. It was fantastic.
Oh, my Lord. 360. Oh, yeah. 20K there. This is bananas. Cheers, man. Thank you. Oh!
The thing that felt so different about the London Marathon for me was the sheer quantity of crowds. All those other running races I've done and been a part of, I just don't remember a race where there's been such consistency of crowd the whole route. And this is a marathon. This is 26.2 miles, 42.2 kilometres. It's a heck of a long way.
At this pace, I didn't quite set off the speed camera, but could hear incredible support from the other side of the road.
One of the big boxes I wanted to tick was feel good at halfway. And by good, I mean things are starting to hurt a little bit, but absolutely like I believed I could do a second half. That was important to me.
Elite runners coming through.
With the leader cruising past, we next saw the infamous Eliud Kipchoge being screamed at by runners and spectators alike.
Eliud Kipchoge! Arguably the most famous runner in history. It's glorious to see him in the middle of a marathon.
What I didn't know at that point is that very same day, I'd meet and speak directly to Eliud. Continuing to fuel, there was little let up in the remarkable support.
Here's Harry.
Go on, Harry!
Go on, Harry!
You would think with all the noise and hullabaloo around you that you'd miss loads of voices. People later told me that they did have to shout quite loudly to feel like they were going to be heard, but it was amazing.
Come on, second half, let's go. Go on, Harry! My man! Buddy. Thank you, my man! Picked up the pace a tiny bit through there. Still trying to be cautious. Thank you, man! Merging into the sunlight now.
I tried to focus on the huge task at hand of running a well-paced marathon and complimented a man on his Shocks headphones.
Let's get in the orange, dude. Have a great run. See you soon. This is where you start to not feel like fueling, but gotta make myself keep the carbohydrates coming in.
And then I saw someone I'd last bumped into at the London Winter Run 10K a few years before, Connor.
I'm with Connor. How are you, man? He's looking strong. Great to meet Connor in the middle of the London Marathon. How surreal. Woo. Have a great one, Connor. You too, buddy. Pleased to see some water again. Thank you. 15 miles, 1:50.51.
Passing through the tunnel,
This is the shock section.
displaying a lot of orange banners, Shocks were blasting music to motivate runners to keep pushing on.
Beautiful.
And before we knew it, we were back out into the bright sunshine.
I'll never forget this.
A stream of marathoners following this famous route as the day continued to get hotter and hotter. To my right was a blue mermaid in a wheelchair.
Got Spice Girls going. I don't know if my face paint is smudged yet. It probably has.
The Spice Girls seemed to give us a boost.
Says ice station 200 metres ahead. Ice, yes please.
Ice was a complete game changer. They'd give us these cups of ice.
I've got the ice.
At one point I put it down my shorts. I just thought I just need to get as much ice on me as possible. I'd run holding ice on the back of my neck. I'd put it in my mouth.
Just been sprayed again and I've got a mouthful of ice. I hope it's going to help me. Yeah, it could be worse. Approaching 26.5k and this is where it starts to bite. Thank you. You can feel the pain starting to creep in. Stick on this pace now. Grit my teeth. We've crossed 2 hours.
A wonderful orange sight.
Appreciate it, man. Thank you. A man in a jog on top. Just what I need.
Reluctant but sticking to the fueling plan, there wasn't a cloud in the sky and the sun beat down. But then I saw them.
Here they are, the Jog On crew. I saw my dad, which means he has pulled out.
Turned out he pulled out at 6 miles.
I'm glad he started it though.
He'd had something tweak at 4 miles, managed to struggle through to 6 miles, and at that point knew that it was the right thing to not continue.
A runner in red lifted the crowd and I sprayed my burning legs with water.
The legs are starting to get heavy.
If there was any doubt, any concern in my mind that this marathon would go downhill and I'd go the way of so many people, which is dying off and my pace really slowing down and starting to run like I was moving through treacle, it would be because of my legs.
Cheers, man, thank you.
I waved at a train and ran past a series of orange tops. Some of them jog on. Pausing for a fast hug before continuing. Skyscrapers towered above us, and I saw an old university friend,
Go on, mate.
Matt.
Good job, bud. This is an incredible race. Thank you so much,
It was slightly difficult to believe that we still had over 12 kilometres to run.
If you take the full marathon block, my average mileage was about 38 miles per week, which, as many people will know, is really quite on the low side.
With 30k ticked off, the beats and cheers continued.
Thanks, man. Cheers. I won't forget this. This is incredible. Yes!
A left bend, and I was beginning to see more and more runners hitting the wall as the heat began to seriously affect people's pace. Determined not to be one of them, I stuck to my fueling.
Try and stay cool.
And cooling as more large signs hung from cranes above us. But then, a problem.
Pin on numbers come undone. I'm going to have to fix it. It's a bit of a bodged job, but numbers back on. That was a concerning moment.
The lightweight shocks went on. I just hit the fearful line of 20 miles.
Unknown territory from now, unknown territory.
Going out, particularly doing those 20-mile runs, when I got to 20 miles, it was like someone had started to encase my legs in cement.
10k left, guys, 10k.
When you're 20 miles into a run, 6.2 miles, 10 kilometres does sound like a long way.
Cheers, guys. Take it home, man. See you in a bit.
Witnessing struggle all around me, the spectator support never wavered.
Thank you! Cheers, Hannah!
On, let's go! It is strong.
2 hours, 30 minutes.
The showers that sprayed us, I don't know how the water was so cold, but every shower I went through, it was really, really cold water.
That takes your breath away.
Let's go, Honey!
33.5 Ks.
Now slowly entering a mild delirium, we entered an area full of colour and confetti. I focused on the rhythm of my feet and used fading runners as targets for the mental stimulation. Here, a delightful level of orange with loud music, and I soaked in this privilege of an experience. Seemingly elevated by an awareness of how far in we were, the crowd really got behind the runners and cold water was fired over hot, aching muscles. The weather was getting seriously warm now.
I was really clear on the idea that I wanted to try and keep my body temperature down because that was going to give me a good chance of still feeling good in the later miles.
I signed up for many reasons, but I believe in running. I hope some of the footage from this race goes to show that.
Come on, Harry! Jog on, mate! Jog on, jog on!
With 22 miles of the course completed, I was finding I not only could hold the pace, but was ever so slightly speeding up. Much of the training I did to prepare me for a successful marathon, we put into a detailed and easy-to-follow training plan, which you can find at thisisjogon.com.
Oh, thank you, buddy. There he is. Hello, buddy. All right?
Yeah, my daughter is absolutely loving your channel.
Oh, man.
Maddie and Charlotte, look who I found.
Hey, Maddie. Hey, Charlotte. Dad's looking great.
Well, I'm not great. I seized up. I'm just trying to get to the end.
He's not looking too great. But we're going to push through now. Cheers, dude. Thanks very much.
Harry. All the best.
I was determined to keep to the pace I'd been on for so long now.
This hurts like hell, but let's stick at it.
Of course, it's hard not to think back on the experience I had at Bath Half Marathon, where things really did take a turn for the worse. But Bath taught me a lot. It gave me no doubt that I knew that I could go to a dark place and really push myself, of course, but it also meant I had a sense now of maybe where that line was.
23 miles coming up.
Yes, Orange guy, let's go, mate.
Just over a park run to go. This is where it really sucks. Well, you just gotta find something from within.
23 miles onwards, my legs were really, really heavy. It was starting to burn even in my chest, and it was just hard. It was really, really hard.
Wiping moisture from the beard, I encouraged a fellow runner.
You're looking strong.
And we were sent down into a dark tunnel where there were some tough sights.
Guy being helped into a wheelchair. I know what that feels like. Last stretch now.
We re-emerged to the cheers and music and found ourselves with just 3.6 kilometres left to run.
Really starting to eat into the pace now. The legs are heavy.
Desperately drenching myself to keep that core body temperature under control, we were so close now.
3 kilometres left. 3 hours.
At mile 24, there was a group of Jog On crew gathered there. They were actually quite far off to the side, so I had to actually run out from the main flow of runners to get across to them, to give them a sort of weird sliding hug. I'm not quite sure what it was.
Jog On crew, that was amazing. They'll push me to the end now.
There were these supportive shouts coming from the crowd. That really drove me on, but even acknowledging those shouts was getting a little bit harder. The enthusiasm was starting to drain out of me.
Thanks, man.
You can see it in some of the clips. Rather than this, which was happening at the start. Hello, yes. It was more sort of, thank you.
This would be the final time I'd see them before the finish, and I hit.
25 miles. Wow.
Heading towards Big Ben, I just needed to keep strong.
Jog On crew with me all the way. Shocks have been brilliant. Really, really good. Thank you, Shocks.
Sensing that we must be close, there were examples of courage all around.
Well done, guys. Well done.
But it was about to get awful.
That straight coming past Buckingham Palace felt like it was taking forever. I knew that there was a right turn coming up to take us down the Mall to that finish line, but it just took ages.
Oh, man.
Maybe I'm dramatising it, but for me, there was a bit of a bond and connection to those that were around you, because you've gone through this really hard run together, and now you're in this final stages, and so people are sort of starting to mutter, come on, guys, we've got this.
Come on, come on.
When is this right turn coming?
The finishing area, though it was tough to appreciate on that sunny London day, was spectacular.
Final straight of the London Marathon. Let's go.
Finally, we got to this right turn, and we turned into the Mall, and
There was the finish line of my first ever marathon.
Oh, yes. Oh, I'm so glad to have finished that. I had 3:13 dead on my watch. That was crazy. 3 hours and 13 minutes of running.
there's this lady called Becky who has a wonderful family, multiple Jog On tops, and Becky was there handing out medals at the finish line. People tend to consider me an extroverted person, but compared to Becky, I'm not sure I am.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're amazing.
Sam, I love the family.
Oh, thank you.
One of my favourite moments.
Well done, that was great.
Well done.
It was just an overwhelming sense of relief. It felt like a weight off the shoulders, having gone through the experience at Bath Half Marathon.
Oh, my word, that was amazing.
To finish arguably the world's most iconic race felt incredible.
Keep on smiling.
Appreciate it, man. Have a good day. Thank you so much, sir.
My final time of 3:12:59. I was really, really happy with the pacing. I'm still slightly in shock that it actually happened. Everything had gone to plan, and I was just delighted to have finished. And for me, it really did epitomise what I really believe in and what Jog On is all about, which is the power of running to bring people together and to really create some connection between people, and for people to interact in a way they might not normally without that medium of running, to bring some of those walls down.
Thank you to everyone that was out there.
If you filmed a clip, if you shouted my name, I really do appreciate it. London Marathon 2025 is something I won't forget.
I'm Harry Morgan. That was the London Marathon, and this is Jog On.
Just a few hours later, as Elliot arrived to speak with us about his run, I reflected on the Shox headphones. Compared with previous headphones I'd worn when running, Shox had proven to be a complete game changer for my training, with the open ear style meaning I'd been more aware of what was going on around me. Incredibly lightweight, they had provided a fantastic fit, and the sound quality was really good. If running an entire marathon with the Open Run 2 isn't testament to how great Shox really are, I don't know what is. You can use code HARRY for a discount on a pair and check out the link in the description of this video. It's also a great way to support Jog On. Then I spoke with Elliot.
Elliot, in the last few years, your fame has really exploded in a big way, and that can come with its own difficulties. We heard about you going out at 7 o'clock in the morning and people already being there, running alongside you, sprinting alongside you, trying to take selfies, etc. How are you at coping with all this and all the attention? Do you deal with it okay?
I'm really very okay. Running is movement. And you know, running is the only sporting whereby you can run with your icon.
That's great.
I'm really comfortable with that.
Good.